Hello, it's Dwayne, the Success King, and today we're talking about something that every adult in America needs to understand: debt validation and proof of claim. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, Dwayne, that sounds like court talk, hold up. Because this one piece of knowledge can save you thousands of dollars, protect your credit, and keep you from being bullied by debt collectors. I'm going to break it down in plain English, no legal degree needed, and we're going to laugh a little while we learn a lot, and I hope that sounds good. But either way, I want you to do me a favor. Before we get started, subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell so every time we upload great content just like this, and leave me a comment, because I'd love to connect with you, and I want you to always stay engaged and involved. All right, now, why must you validate every debt? See, when a debt collector calls and says, hey, you owe us $2,316.47 for a credit card from 2018, most people panic. They say, I'll start paying. But let me tell you something. In this world, if you don't ask for proof, somebody's going to sell you a story. Debt validation is your right, not a favor. Under 15 U.S.C. 1692G of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, you have the legal right to demand validation of any debt someone claims you owe. That means before you give a dime, before you sign anything, before you panic, you have the right to say, prove it. That's it. 2 words, prove it. And here's the part that'll make you smile. Most of these companies can't prove it because that debt has been sold, transferred, bundled, repackaged, and tossed around more times than a football at a tailgate party. By the time it reaches you, they may not have a single original document left. So if they can't prove it, you don't owe it. Simple as that. Now, what debt validation really means? Debt validation isn't about running from responsibility. It's about demanding accountability. You're not refusing to pay any real lawful debt. You're just saying, before I pay, show me that you have the legal right to collect and that this debt is accurate. It's like buying a used car. You wouldn't just hand someone $10,000 because they said it's a great deal. You'd ask for the title, the VIN number, and proof of ownership. Well, debt is the same thing. You're asking for the paperwork that proves they own what they say you owe. Now, what your letter should say, and I'm going to put a link for this in the description, but now let's talk about what your debt validation letter should say. You don't need fancy legal talk, just clear, direct words. Here's the heart of it. This is not a refusal to pay any lawful owed debt, but a request for you to provide proper documentation and validation of your claim. That's your opening line: respectful, powerful, and legally sound. Now, in that same letter, you want to require 5 key things. And I want you to write these down because these are what make your letter work. First, the original signed contract or agreement creating the alleged obligation. Now, why? Because if they can't show your signature, they might be chasing the wrong person or a debt that isn't even yours. Then the full chain of assignment. If the debt has been sold or transferred, we need this assignment. Why? Because many times the company contacting isn't the original creditor. You want proof that they legally bought the right to collect from you. Then there's the name and address of the original creditor. Why? Because you deserve to know who started the claim. And whether this is an old debt that's already past the statute of limitations, you also have a right to know that. So, a full accounting and itemization of the alleged balance. Why? Because they love to throw in late fees, interest, and mystery charges. You want to see exactly how they came up with what that number is. Validation in accordance with 15 U.S.C. 1692 GB and 12 CFR 1006.34. Why? because these are the legal standards they must meet. Not opinions, not policies, laws. And finally, close with this clear statement. Till such time that validation is received, you are required to cease all collection activity, including any credit reporting under 15 U.S.C. 1692 CC. You are to communicate only via U.S. mail and refrain from all electronic, verbal, or social media contact. That's your legal boundary line. You're not being mean, you're being smart. Now, let me tell you why this works. This process works so good because most debt collectors operate on volume, not validation. They buy thousands of accounts at pennies on the dollar, hoping you'll panic and pay. And if they dare threaten to sue, you'll really pay. When they get your validation letter, they usually do one of two things. They vanish because they don't have the proof. They try to bluff you, hoping you don't know the law. But here's the beauty. When you stand on your rights, you take the power back. See, the law isn't just for lawyers, it's for you. And once you know it, nobody can use fear to control you anymore. So, proof of claim versus debt validation. Now let's clear something up that confuses a lot of people. Debt validation and proof of claim are not the same thing. Debt validation happens when a debt collector reaches out and you say, prove this debt is real and that you have the right to collect it. Proof of claim comes into play if the issue goes to court or bankruptcy. It's the legal document they must file to claim that you owe them money. And here's where people get tripped up. A lot of collectors try to use incomplete proof to win cases. So when they say we filed a proof of claim, you can calmly respond, great. Please provide the original signed contract, the chain of title, and a full itemization of charges. Why? Because just saying you owe money isn't enough. They have to prove it with proper documentation. And if they can't, that claim falls apart like a dollar store umbrella in a hurricane. So, the FCRA connection. Now, let's talk about something powerful. If they report that debt to your credit bureau before validating it, that can be a violation of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. That's right. Reporting an unverified debt can damage your credit score and your reputation, which means you may have grounds for a claim of defamation of character. So if any reporting has already occurred, you can let them know. Please be advised, this may constitute a violation of the FCRA and could result in a claim of defamation or character and other legal consequences. That line right there, that's just not a sentence, that's a shield. It tells them you're not playing games. You're educated, empowered, and you are aware. Now, what's the right mindset when validating? Let's pause there for a moment because this part is important. When you're dealing with debt collectors, your energy matters. You can't go in angry, scared, or desperate. That's what they want. You have to go in calm, confident, and detached. This is my pattern. Believe, feel, act. Believe that the law protects you. Feel confident that you are not powerless. Then act with clarity, with respect, and with written documentation. Detachment. Detachment means you're not emotional about it. You're strategic. You're not yelling, you're writing. You're not begging, you're requiring. You're not afraid, you're aware. And that's the energy that gets results. Now, how do you send your letter? Now, let's make sure you do this the right way. When you send your debt validation letter, don't just email it. You want to send it by certified mail, return receipt requested. Why? Because you need proof that they received it. That little green card of tracking receipt is your evidence that you gave them official notice. After you send it, mark the date. They have 30 days to respond and get it back in the mail. If they fail to respond, or if they respond without full validation, you can then dispute the account on your credit reports as unverified and inaccurate under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. That's how you turn your validation request into real credit protection. Now, let me tell you something funny. Debt collectors are like those people at the grocery store who bump your cart, look you dead in the eye, and still don't say, "Excuse me." They know they're wrong, but they keep walking. Why? Because most people don't call them out. But when you send that letter, it's like tapping them on the shoulder and saying, "Hey, my friend, where's your proof?" And suddenly the conversation changes. They stop calling, they stop reporting, they stop threatening. It's amazing what happens when you use your rights. Now understand this. This is not for the original creditor. This is for debt collectors. Now, when do they respond? And if they respond, what should you do? Now, sometimes they will respond, but you got to look closely at what they send you. If all they send you is a printout of a statement from their system, that's not validation. A real validation must include original signed agreement, proof of assignment, and complete accounting. Don't let them trick you with fancy letterhead or scary words. If they didn't show the legal documents, they didn't validate the debt. You can reply politely and say, "Thank you for your response. Unfortunately, this does not constitute proper validation under 15 U.S.C. 1692 GB. Please provide the requested documentation to verify the debt as required by law." That's all you need. No arguments, no emotion, just fact. Now keep the records. Listen to me. This is important. Keep every letter, every receipt, and every envelope. You're building a paper trail. If you ever need to take them to court, or if they take you, that trail is your protection. You'll be able to show the judge, "I asked for validation. They ignored the law." Judges love paper trails. They don't want to hear who yelled the loudest. They want to see who documented the best. You be that person. Now, what happens next? Here's the usual outcome once you send your letter. 60% of collectors go silent and vanish. 30% send weak responses that don't meet the law. 10% might actually have the paperwork. For that 10%, you can decide how to move forward. If it's legitimate and the balance is correct, you can settle or pay strategically. But for the 90% that can't prove it, congratulations. You just protected your wallet and your credit. Well, listen, family, let me remind you of something powerful. You are not powerless. You have rights. And when you know them, you walk differently. Debt collectors survive off fear and ignorance. Once you know the law, the fear disappears, and so does their control. So the next time a collector calls you, don't panic, smile, breathe, say, "I'll be happy to review that once I receive proper validation under 15 U.S.C. 1692 G." That's how grown people handle business. Well, if this video has helped you understand how to protect yourself, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, share this with someone you care about, because financial freedom starts with knowledge. And if you're ready to go deeper to fix your credit and become fundable as a business owner, go ahead and check the description for this video. Well, I'm Dwayne, the Success King, reminding you, believe right, feel right, act right, and you'll live right. Until next time, keep your peace, protect your credit, and walk in your power. Be blessed.